Antonio Johnson here for APTV, and I have a special interview with director Tom Jones for the Asbury Park Music and Film Festival.
Asbury Park, it was like Disneyland.
It's this exotic feast for the eyes and ears.
You just floated a foot off the ground all day long, lifted by this great music.
There was a certain moment in time when something happened here that wasn't happening anyplace else.
I believe 2 years ago you had your first cut, I guess, of your film now that's premiering at the 2019 Asbury Park Music and Film Festival.
Right.
Well, your film this year is Asbury Park's Riot, Redemption, and Rock and Roll. And it's the second cut, I believe, right?
It is. So the first one we played 2 years ago, an early cut of the film at the festival. It was called Just Before the Dawn. And it was a great night. We had a great night. We filled up the Paramount, where we're sitting now. And we had a concert afterwards that was billed as a reunion of people who played at Upstage, which was a famous club here in Asbury Park that closed in 1971 after the riots. So we took that film. Bruce very graciously offered to sit for an interview, and we kind of tore it all up and put it all back together. And now it sounds like a long time, but it didn't feel like that long. We had to remake it. It's probably about 50% different. And now it's called Asbury Park Riot, Redemption, Rock and Roll. And we give a sneak peek here at the Asbury Park Music and Film Festival on April 28th, and we're hoping to sell it out. And then we go wide on May 22nd. We're in 1,400 theaters in 28 countries.
That Jersey sound is distinctively Jersey.
The only art form half created by blacks, half created by whites.
The best part maybe is all the profits from the film go to support educational programs, both here in Asbury Park, and then we hope to develop something that we can take worldwide. So not just everything will pilot here in Asbury Park, but then we'll take it worldwide. So we're going to support the Beat Bus, which is a very cool thing we started a couple of years. It brings music to kids who otherwise may not get a shot at it. So we're super. That's kind of the most exciting bit for me, is what we're going to do after the film. So it's important that we do well here and well in theaters, and we'll be able to, I think, do some really good stuff for kids.
I remember being in attendance that night when Bruce and everyone was playing, and it was truly electrifying. Definitely a special moment. Why do you think it's so important to get the name of Asbury Park out to 28 countries?
I think Asbury Park is a microcosm for the rest of the country. People have been looking back to the glory days of Asbury Park. Oh, I wish Asbury Park was like it used to be, and myself included. You know, when I was a kid, I grew up near here, and I ran a Pepsi route in Asbury Park, and it was long past the glory years. And I'd walk around with my Pepsi thinking, man, this place could be great. And I think the way to think about it is not a return to the past, but I think Asbury Park can be something better than it ever was. Because Asbury Park used to be great for a small select group of people. And for everyone else, maybe not so much so. Now, Asbury Park can come back and be great for everyone. And I think that's a crucial difference. And the people who bought Asbury Park back were people who wouldn't have been treated so well the first time around. So I think Asbury Park can be greater than it ever was.
Why those three words, Riot, Redemption, and Rock and Roll?
Well, the riot probably didn't kill Asbury Park, but it was one of the last nails in the coffin. And Asbury Park's an interesting town in that it literally has a set of railroad tracks dividing it, you know, from the haves and the have-nots. And one of the few connectors across those tracks was music. And the West Side used to have a fantastic blues and jazz scene that went away with the riots. But it was a world-famous blues and jazz scene. And then it was top 40 and catered to the tourist crowd on the east side of the tracks. But there was a lot of cross-pollination between those two worlds, and that kind of went away with the riots. And I think we're living the redemption. I think now Asbury Park's getting its long-awaited, long-deserved renaissance, and it's really music that brought it back.
Music does bring people together.
The greatest music ever made. It was everything to our whole generation.
Well, thank you, Tom,
Thank
for
you.
the interview.
Appreciate
and
it.
For those of you who are attending the festival, you can catch Tom's film, Asbury Park, Riot, Redemption, Rock and Roll, on April 28th at 3 p.m. here at the Paramount.